Myself.
I'm taking the orange one. Yellow for Bachira, I guess. Orange for Hinata.
I'm pink because I'm a girl.
My backpack will get its own chair. Lay down on these chairs.
That's rude. Don't lay down during the
This is
panel.
like
Oh, okay.
take your microphone with you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Oh yeah, that would. Don't tempt me. Don't tempt me.
I like to imagine since the baseball stadium's across the street, this is set up for like the entire team of baseball players or something like that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'm only here so I don't get fined.
Yeah.
That's a deep cut from 10 years ago or something. I don't know when that happened. There was some like football player that like was like in some controversy or something, and it was because he literally was just at one of those like public press events.
Yeah.
And he's just like, I'm only here so I don't get fined.
You boys
That's
okay with
amazing.
photos? We got photography.
Yeah.
I'm okay with panel photos.
Yeah.
Cool.
Panel photos are cool.
I
Sweet.
didn't want to answer for everybody. So
Yeah,
I was like,
sounds
yeah, we
good.
love photos. Do it.
I'm answering for the rest of the people who aren't here yet because
I
they
think it's
missed their
just gonna
chance.
be us, to be honest.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Howard all day, so I don't think he will
I
make
haven't seen
it.
Howard yet
I
either.
haven't. Yeah.
James just went to the restroom.
Okay, so James is still coming.
Kamen
Okay.
followed us, but he maybe he went to the restroom too.
Yeah.
He disappeared.
Oh.
Hey, okay.
They're the
There they are.
slackers.
There we are. Who's green and who's blue?
Fight!
I don't know.
That's not fighting.
We claimed our colors already.
Yes.
I'm the only chica here.
Blue for blue lock.
I know Howard's supposed to be. Howard's somewhere.
Is he? I haven't seen him.
Oh, no, he was sleeping.
Oh, he's sleeping. Oh, he doesn't care about you guys. No.
Yeah. No, he doesn't. He doesn't care about anybody. But apparently, like getting here is a bit of a maze.
It's crazy. Parking is nuts.
Yeah. So he knows we're on the second floor.
What's the deal with hotel parking?
Stairwell 4.
Yeah. So
Stairwell
as people
4.
are picking up their badges, if you're looking at the badge place,
That's a bit complicated for a text. Like not to like kibosh you, but like that's just I
We
don't want to
appreciate
type.
your
I don't want
help.
to type all of that with my fingers.
Turn right, then turn left, then go up the escalator. Turn right.
There's an old man under a bridge. He will ask you
Send him
four
the game.
questions.
Send him the game facts plain text walkthrough.
Race down the corridor till you get to the shrine of the silver monkey.
badge pickup.
Yes. Quick, roll a d20.
Stay out of the water temple.
Yeah.
Watch out for snakes.
It's dangerous to go alone.
I just went to Disneyland recently when I was at VidCon, and we went on the Indiana Jones ride, and there was just a terrible take with Harrison Ford going like, "Snakes, why'd it have to be snakes?" It probably wasn't even
Snakes.
him. It was just a
Why'd it have to
stand-in
be
like
snakes?
non-union
Yeah, no,
actor that they got. Just like, can't believe it's snakes. I'm just like, really? They used that take? Okay.
Is it?
If you go on the Indiana Jones ride, listen for that.
Is it still the same Indiana Jones ride, or did they update it for the new
I
film?
think, well, I was told that there's 3 different things that can happen because there's like, oh, the treasure of greed or the treasure of.
Oh no, then
whatever,
yeah,
and
then they updated it.
It was my first time at Disneyland, so yeah.
Yeah.
And the third one's the bad ending where he dies. I don't know.
It's where you open up the refrigerator and he just had melted.
We went through the greed route, so I don't know.
If you go to Disneyland Paris, he says it in French. So
Snakes. Why did it have to be snakes?
Yes,
He just says it in English with an accent.
yeah, sure.
no. Wow. Okay, is it time to start?
We've got
close.
1 minute, so you
1
guys
minute.
We
get
got
Okay.
1
We got
minute.
the voice actor podcast
This is
for
yeah,
one.
there you go.
We got 1 minute and a Howard.
Has anybody else been to Disneyland? Or?
I grew up in Southern. My grandparents lived in Anaheim.
Oh, okay.
I would like visit them in the summer and get free views of the nightly fireworks show.
My parents took me alongside the family to Disney World in Florida when I was 2 years old, so I haven't been to Disney
wow.
World.
See, I was a Universal guy. Like my family, we loved Universal, and to me, I like it more. But you know,
I
it's
haven't
not
been to
bad.
Universal in eons.
Oh, Universal's
Our trip was
great.
more for
You
the
like-
older
you like
cousins who could
Universal
remember
more?
it.
The park, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the Mummy. That's like my favorite
The
one.
Mummy ride is fun. Yeah, that's a good
Mr.
question.
Howard has said almost here. So
Cool.
Everybody clap when he shows up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very slowly.
Slow-
this room is actually impossible
You don't
to
wanna
find.
scare him.
Yup.
We'll
Everyone
applaud
just
his
gaslight
efforts.
him.
Sweet. I mean, I guess we could start with intros.
Yeah, we can.
You want to start?
Do we want to start on this end and work
Ladies
our way
first.
Sure. Welcome to the voice acting Q&A. Yay!
Hey.
We'll go down the line, introduce ourselves. My name is Corinne Sudberg. I'm a voice actress, singer, and content creator on YouTube. The most recognizable stuff you can find me is as Kosuke Momonosuke from One Piece, Nataka's son from Fire Force, Arshay and Entima from Overlord, and a bunch of other stuff. I'm also on YouTube. I've done a lot of parody series stuff. I work with AFMAO, which is a lot of kids' content and stuff like that. And that's about it. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Bryson Baugus, also a voice actor / singer. And most people know me for Shoyo Hinata from Haikyuu, Nagi Seishiro from Blue Lock, Falco from Attack on Titan, Japard from Honkai Star Rail, and a bunch of other stuff. You can Google Bryson Baugus, and I always forget which highlights to highlight. But thank you so much for coming. Yeah.
What's up, guys? My name is Drew Breedlove. I am mostly known for Meguru Bachira in Blue Lock. I'm also Mitsuki Kiryu in Windbreaker, Oliver Horn in Reign of the Seven Spellblades, and a whole bunch of other voices in a whole bunch of other shows. I've been acting for, voice acting specifically for about 8 years. I've been acting for about 15. Started in theater, I do film, I do it all, and now I'm up here with these wonderful people. So, yes.
Hi, I'm James Cheek. I am an actor and writer, staff writer at Crunchyroll. I'm best known for being Howard Wang's husband. Hwa-chung and Heaven Official's Blessing. Worked on a number of things. I've written the second season of The Ancient Magus' Bride, the second season of Vinland Saga, Heaven Official's Blessing, as well as currently Twilight Out of Focus and Quality Assurance in Another World.
My name is Kamen Casey. I'm an actor. Probably best known as Reo, Blue Lock, Sign of Affection, Gundam, Witch from Mercury. I also do TV film as well. If you've seen Black Adam, I get killed by The Rock.
Oh shoot! I didn't know that.
That meme with the motorbike and he tosses the guy. That's me. I'm that bald dude.
That's cool.
Oh, you're that bald dude? Oh my God!
So are you?
I haven't seen the movie, but now I want to see
Are
it
you-
just for you.
Are you more of a stunt actor or
Like-
an actor like a?
A little bit of both, but mainly
Okay,
actor.
that's cool.
They don't. That was one thing I thought when I got to Hollywood. It's like, oh, hey, I can do both. And they're like, dude, you got to pick. Either
they're
you
very
get beat up,
strict.
and or you act. You can't do both.
Well, the actor's got to be pretty. That's why they don't want their
Yeah.
actors beaten.
Yeah.
Get all beat up.
Yeah. You're not the right kind of bald guy.
No, too short.
Sweet. Cool.
But yeah, this is the voice actor Q&A, so I believe that means the Q side of the contract falls onto you guys. So if you have any questions, it looks like they have a microphone set up if you want to line up for your questions, or just raise your hands. I think the room's small enough we can hear.
Or
and
we can
pick out.
just ramble about.
We're also
anime.
actors. Yeah, we can talk to a wall and
We
you'll
can-
go
Yeah,
crazy. you
I was
know.
about to say, we've all spent a lot of money and a lot of time learning how to just talk about nothing.
We were just
Yes.
talking about Disneyland a second
Yeah.
ago. We could just talk about.
Yeah,
that for
so
hours.
we can ramble if you want us
My
to.
favorite color's blue. I like long walks on the beach.
Oh my
my
God!
favorite color's purple, and I like short walks on the beach.
Oh my God! My favorite color is chartreuse, and my favorite thing is medium walks on the beach.
Okay. All right. This is gonna
These theater kids.
I'm not a theater kid. I'm just fucking weird. My brother is a theater kid. I am not a theater kid.
Oh man.
You won.
Yeah. Oh, I know. That's just how that works.
But yeah, it could be questions about how to get into the industry or just any challenges.
There are
you
characters
had,
and shows.
Because we can't answer that question because none of us know how we got into the
Yeah,
begin with.
none of us know. We cannot answer that question actually.
Got a fun question.
Yes.
Kind of twofold. One, what's the one role you always wanted and you got? And then second, what's the one role that you weren't too eager to get, but you got and it turns out you really enjoyed it?
So a role that we always wanted and we got, is that the?
Yeah. And then a role that we weren't excited about, but then
I was
became
super
excited
psyched
about.
to get into Overlord. I'm not gonna lie about that because like weeks before I even got the audition, I got to meet the creator of Overlord and tell him how much I love his show.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, I hope I get to be in it someday. And they're like, they wish me luck. And then sure enough, I got the audition for Arshay. And then now I'm officially Etima because if you actually seen what happens, so I'm pretty psyched for that.
Oh my God! God!
He's alive!
Husband, you're here!
I love your haircut. Last time I saw you, your hair was like to your shoulders.
Yeah.
It looks great.
Oh, you've butched it up.
Do we have
You're gonna have to share a mic with somebody, I guess.
Oh, I see how it is.
But yeah, I'm very fortunate that I got to be in 2 shows that I absolutely love. So Overlord and One Piece. As for what was the second question? The second one
was like a character that you weren't really too thrilled about, but then like later were like, oh yeah, this is like so much fun. Like I guess it grew on you, yeah.
I guess maybe the character I got now, but I can't talk about it.
Oh.
Hey, she's
So
working.
that's been an interesting experience. But yeah, I guess you'll find out soon about that. Howard, I know you're getting ready, but do you want to introduce yourself and all that?
Hi, I'm Howard, and I have a great sense of direction. I'm a voice actor. That's why you're here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've done stuff like Xielian in Heaven Official's Blessing, Luca in Honkai Star Rail, Longa in Skate the Infinity, and a lot of other things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the question?
So the question was, what's a character that you really wanted and got, and then what's a character that you weren't feeling too thrilled about, but then like it grew on you?
Character I really wanted and got. Xielian from Heaven Official's Blessing. Not just because it seemed like a cool project to be part of, but just, Chinese rep is also really cool. Character I wasn't too thrilled about. There's one that was like unexpected.
Yeah.
That I was more nervous about doing a good job on, and that was Anasui in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stone Ocean. Yeah, that one was like an audition, just shot in the dark. I was like, "There's no way I'm gonna get this. This isn't my usual character type." And then I got it. And then I was like, "Oh no!" I was really excited, but also just really, really scared because it's JoJo and I love JoJo, and I wanted to do a good job. And that was more of a nerves thing than like I didn't really want this thing. 'Cause I really wanted this thing. I just didn't think I'd get this thing.
I will add before, I did get an audition for something, and I was like, I don't want this, but I still put my best foot forward, and I didn't get it. I was like, thank God. It was like the main person in Vampire Dormitory. Just because the audition lines were not great. So
That was a show.
yeah.
So for a character that I really wanted, I was super hyped about getting to audition at all for Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s, because Yu-Gi-Oh! Is like a very like childhood like nostalgia type show for me. I'm very much the kind of person that doesn't really identify specific characters. It's more like I nebulously want to be in these shows that I grew up with. So like I want to be in Digimon, I want to be in Yu-Gi-Oh! And so I got the auditions for the protagonist for Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s and a few of his friends, and I was like still in Houston at the time, and they dubbed Yu-Gi-Oh! Out in New York. But I had taken a class with the director, and they seemed to really like me, and that's why they sent me the audition. So I was like, yeah, sure, I'll audition for these. I'll hopefully get a side character here and there, but like it's good for them to hear how I sound on these characters as well. So cross my fingers, but I'm not getting my hopes too far up. And then like a few weeks passed by, hearing nothing, and they were like, oh yeah, we're going to give you a callback for Yuga. And I was like, yes! And then the callback happened, and then a couple more weeks go by, and I hear nothing. I was like, okay, I didn't get it. And then they were like, all right, we're going to do a paid test recording of the first episode. I was like, okay. They're paying me to record Yuga for Yu-Gi-Oh! And it's not set in stone yet, but we're going to do the episode, and I'm going to get paid for it. Awesome. And then they were like, eventually, like, okay, cool, confirmed, like, you're going to be the main guy. And I freaked out. And so that was super exciting, and I was super happy to be able to be a part of, like, a childhood property like that. And much like Howard's experience with JoJo for Honkai Star Rail, I was totally not expecting to book Japard, because I tend to play younger sounding characters like in Yu-Gi-Oh! You got your Yugas, you got Haikyuu. I played young hyper boys like Hinata, but Japard, he's very much more mature, and I can't even really do his voice that well right now because I've been talking all day and I'm just finished recovering from a sore throat. But he's kind of more in my lower baritone range, and he's very serious and stern. And I got the auditions for him, and I was like, well, I'll give it a shot. I've been working on my lower range for a bit, and I was super surprised that they actually decided to cast me for him. So anytime I have to record for him, I make sure that it's in the morning, and I drink plenty of tea so that I still have a little bit of that like low resonance in my voice that I don't have right now at all.
Bro, I feel that. So one that I'm really happy that I got, I love the crazies. I've always loved it. Like, I was an anime fan before I got into voice acting, and I was like, man, I would love to play a crazy character. And obviously, I love Bachida because he's nuts, but he also has a lot of heart to him, too. He's not just crazy, and I was very happy when I found out that I got him, because the more I researched, the more I fell in love with him as a character. So I'm also a Bachida fan, even though I voice him. People are like, that's cheating! And I'm like, well, sort of. I can't argue with you there, but I love him, you know. And a character that that was really unexpected was Kiryu in Windbreaker. I never saw myself playing like kind of the more mellow, cool, like ladies' man type characters. But then when I saw him, I was like, oh, he's kind of skater. And you know, on camera, I auditioned for skater stuff all the time. I actually used to skate too, quite a bit. And it's funny because I was talking to him when I first got cast because I was so nervous. I was like, how do you play the cool character? Because, you know, Nagi and stuff. And he was like, dude, you just kind of sound like a skater anyways. You don't really have to do much. And then and lo and behold, the director was like I was trying to, he made me redo the episode because I made Kiryu a little too scary. And I guess I do that. And he was like, no, we just want, like, your voice. And I was like, you don't want me to change it or anything? No, we just, like, want your voice. And I was like, okay, and so I did it, and people liked it. So I was like, cool, that works.
Too scary.
You know, I made him scary.
Oh, no.
It was great, but it's all good.
For me, I think to answer for both would have to be Hwa-Chung and Heaven Official's Blessing, because I had seen stuff from Heaven Officials before. It was even announced that Funimation acquired it, and it just looked like the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. It was really, really cool. And then when we got the audition sides, I was like, I mean, I guess, because me and Sexy have never really been in the same room, and then all of a sudden I get a call back. They're like, hey, could you play the hot guy again? I'm like, why? Like, are you sure? I actually responded to Tara, the talent coordinator. I was like, are you sure you want me to do this guy again? And then when I got called in, they didn't say who I was playing. They just asked me to come in, and then I saw my name next to him, next to Hwa-Chung on the script, and I was like, oh my god! It was very hard to remain professional that day.
I didn't have a specific one. I think it was more like a type. Like, I always wanted to play like the brooding types or dramatic roles or monologuing. And the first main, well, I guess more supporting character with a name was Roku from Remake Our Life, and I love that. I love that because I'm a filmmaker, and that entire anime was about struggling as an independent filmmaker and as a student, and everyone having to collaborate together. And I'm like, whoa, this is taking me back to college. So, but I was glad to get that one because from there I was able to play in Sign of Affection and in Blue Lock, and I feel like that type of character I've always grew up just loving, whether it was Spike and Cowboy Bebop, that type of range in there. So that was a blast. But the one I wasn't expecting, Fire Dragon and Ayaka. I make all the noises and the crazy like monster noises, but I'm sure they got a million people that can do that. And so getting cast to be a Fire Dragon was so much fun. I just got to growl all the time, and I had to really learn how to take care of my voice for that one. I'm like, oh, yes, okay, this hurts. Yes. It's so awesome when they add all the effects to it. I'm like, I don't know if I can, because you hear it in the J in the Japanese. I'm like, is that just one guy doing that? He's like, no, we're going to add some effects, do the thing. I'm like, okay, here we go. And so it went for it, and yeah, it sounds freaking
Throat
sweet.
coat and Nimjam.
Yes. Yes.
That reminds me of my friend Mark Swint. He's played a few Pokemon. Ooh. And one he's played is Guzzlord, which if you heard the J, it's literally just an old Japanese man. Ah! So it's just him just screaming at the top of his mouth.
Yes, thank you for your question.
Good one.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good question, by the way.
And if anybody else has any more questions, feel free to raise your hand or walk up to the microphone.
Come on, don't be shy.
Else,
One of us will bite you, but you don't know who.
Just a little bit.
it's a surprise.
Yeah.
If y'all don't have any questions, or if y'all are thinking to sum up, we can probably
Yay.
ask.
Hey! We got a
Jedi?
someone.
Oh,
Furry Jedi.
Oh, hey.
that's nice.
So dramatic.
That's awesome.
Is this thing on?
Yes,
It might be.
I don't. Your mask is making it difficult to find out.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello?
Yes.
Okay.
There we go.
Yes.
I was gonna ask, question. How does it feel, like being a voice actor? Like, where do you get this type of feeling? Because I've been trying to learn for like being a voice actor myself.
Yeah.
I'm trying to learn.
Are you asking like when did we kind of like internally understand that, oh, we're professional voice actors now? Okay. Just like when it just sort of clicked and we're just like, oh, I'm this. Yeah.
I got called in for more than one session.
Yeah.
There's always this great feeling that like the adrenaline kind of builds up and you feel a little like nervous and you're kind of just jumping around, and then once you just start getting into the character, it just feels right. It's hard to explain. I'm sure I think Ash said it best in one episode where he's just like, oh, how's it feel to be a trainer? It's like boom, it's bam and bam. You know what I mean? You know, so like there's no actual way of explaining it. You know, you'll feel when it comes. You know.
Yeah, like for me, it was actually around the time that I got cast as Hwa-Chang where I just kind of realized that I was just like, I'm not the best, but I can compete with everybody. You know, it wasn't that like I, you know, was perfect or that I was, you know, like top tier or whatever, but I was like, no, I can be random guy number 6. Like same with, you know, all these other people. Like I can be in this show, and I cannot ruin it. and so that was the moment where for me it switched from just like, you know, can I do this to like, no, I can swim in this pool.
You go ahead.
I'm still waiting for my imposter syndrome to let me feel that.
It helps if you just get mad.
I think to some extent, no matter how far you get into the industry, there is always going to be a level of imposter syndrome of being like,
I agree.
am I really like up there with everybody else that I've been living my whole life, like listening to other professionals that came before us, or even professionals that like came after you that like just really kill it and be like, wow, can I really do that? But it is a certain level of there is a certain level of like self-confidence that you got to have at the baseline to be like, no, I know what I'm about and I know what I provide and what I'm good at, and just being able to have more days where you feel that way than don't, to be able to like put yourself out there and reach out to directors and casting directors and studios to get auditions. And if you're still really early on in your career, finding those opportunities where you can develop those skills and that experience. And I feel like the longer that you do it, the more experience you have to rely on to kind of reinforce even just to your own mind, like, no, I've been doing this for a while, I have the experience to rely on and I know what I'm doing. In terms of like that moment that clicks where you're like, okay, I'm a professional, it's different for everybody. I used to have the baseline of saying like, once I did a first paid gig, that's when I say like, no, I'm a professional. When it comes to the term like I am a voice actor, if you're doing voice acting, you are a voice actor.
Yeah.
It's not I'm an aspire. I think Crispin Freeman put it in his like podcast like 10 something years ago. Like if you're doing it, you are it. Whether or not you're getting paid for it or something like that is different for everybody, and when that comes in their journey is different for everyone. But I would say if you're out there doing it, you can say like I am a voice actor. It's just a matter of finding the opportunities to further it and make it into a more viable like career. In terms of like whether or not it becomes a full-time thing for you, it just depends on how much opportunities come your way, and it's different for everybody in that regard too. I know plenty of people that work on anime all the time that still have day jobs to help support them and pay their bills. That doesn't make them any less professional. They're still professional actors that are in professional productions. So it's all a personal journey as to whether you identify as like, oh, I'm a professional voice actor. But if you're out there getting paid to do work, you are a professional.
Yeah.
And it's all just the internal side of things where it's where you tussle over that stuff.
And I also think it depends on what your goals are too. Like, you know, for me, like I know a lot of people would be like, man, you're in great position, you're traveling around, you're doing all this stuff, but I still, you know, view myself as still very green. And I've been acting for 15 years, right? And so I view myself as, you know, at the beginning of my career, you know, and you know, I still have a long way to go as well. And it's kind of the difference of like, you know, if you go to Hobby Lobby and you buy a paint set, I mean, yeah, you're a painter then, but like once you get your artwork into a museum, it's a little different, right? You become a different level of a painter. And so it just depends on like your goal. Like you know, if you enjoy making YouTube videos with your friends and you know, doing, you know, fun little cartoons and stuff, that's fine. I mean, that's great. You should do that. You know, if your thing is to be like in anime or video games or commercials or whatever, then that's cool. That's what, you know, it just depends on your own personal goals and where you want to end up, you know. So, yeah. break a leg.
There's always stuff to learn.
Yeah.
Yes,
There-
there
there's-
is always. Even Tom Cruise has stuff he could learn on.
Yeah.
You know, like how not to break his foot, or maybe
He's never gonna not learn.
Yeah.
He's never gonna learn that.
Yeah, maybe you shouldn't do stunts anymore.
I will say that something that helped me, like with the just kind of gaining a level of self-confidence about my own skill set, is learning like the bare minimum expectation of what the thing you want to be a part of is. Because if you understand like the only like on a show, they kind of just want you to say your line in on an anime. It's like, say your line, do it in time, and that's kind of that's the only thing you really need to do the job. Everything else on top of that is just is just a better version of that base expectation. And so once you understand what it is you need to do and just like the bare minimum of it, and just figuring out, okay, if that's the bare minimum and I want to be elsewhere, then you have like a point of reference for what you can and can't do, and what the things that you're better at, if that makes any sense.
What about you, Kamen? You got any input?
I'd say the first time I felt it was a commercial voiceover, getting paid to do it was just my voice. I was like, whoa, this is cool. It was for a male grooming. What was it? What's the Meridian? It was Meridian. It's not the one that everyone always sees. I can't remember the name of the guy shaver. Dang it.
It's Manscaped?
Manscaped. There was like they were going at it with Manscaped, and I got to do a whole commercial bit for Meridian,
nice.
male grooming. And so it was funny, but it was cool to find out like Drew was saying about your voice can be enough. Instead of having to change it and make it something like just me talking can be used somewhere, and you can make money being yourself as well, outside of having to create a character all the time. So to answer your question of my first commercial gig is when I felt like, hey, I'm a voice actor. I can put that on my resume.
Yeah.
As for how it feels to be on this side of the things, like it's different for everybody, but for me, I'm super excited. This is something I've wanted to do since I was like 14, and not just acting in general. Like I always wanted to do acting for stage. I've never really dabbled much in on camera, but I always thought that I might pursue that as well. But voice acting was also always a part of like something I wanted to do as a fan of anime, video games, cartoons. So like the fact that I was able to make it, like it's super rewarding and exciting. So if that's also kind of the thing that you were wondering about.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's really cool to see enthusiasm from fans too, like how much like your work changes their lives too. Like I have a really soft spot for Bachata cosplayers because a lot of them are like, Bachata helped me so much, and I'm like, you helped me too. It's like and so it's really cool having that connection because that's why I got into it because like I love that having your work affect people in a way that they might not feel from a day-to-day basis is a very special thing.
And it's very validating too, because voice acting in particular, especially in anime, we all record everything one-on-one with the director and the engineer, and it's just us by ourselves in a booth. And so sometimes you'll get to play off and hear what some of the actors who recorded before you did, and you can hear the performance and everything together in that regard. But sometimes you're just in a void, and so you don't really see the impact that the work that you do has until you get to come out to one of these and see how many fans of the shows that there are, and how that work impacted different people. So it's very validating.
Or just how completely unhinged they are.
As a person that's been going to conventions since 2016, like I've been on that side where I'm like, you're my childhood. I've met Rob Paulson. I've met so many people. And the fact that now there are people coming up to me saying you were part of my childhood, it's still
from 2016.
It's so surreal, and it's just I'm like, oh, I am doing, because like at first I was like, I want to work for Disney, and it's like, okay, but there's different ways of you can make people happy, and it doesn't have to be like at the top tier of something. It could just be something from, like I said, YouTube, or just like silly anime or whatever.
I'm the same way with I'm already starting to get adults coming up to my table being like, I watched Haikyuu in middle school, and I'm like,
I get it from the
just
Ask Mel
stop
crowd.
it.
I'm like 30 now.
Stop
and I
growing.
This one. I was like, oh, okay.
See, everyone who does that to me is already in their 30s. They're just like, you were amazing. I'm like, oh, you're an adult with children. Why are you saying this when you're holding your baby?
Thank you for your question.
Thank you.
And
Good
anybody
question.
else has any other questions? We've got the microphone here, or if you just want to raise your hand.
Well,
I
it's
think
good.
we do have some new people. Yes.
You've had your turn.
Fight.
It seemed like they were helping us back up. Yeah.
I'm sorry, this is just a silly little question, but I know you guys said that you guys were theater kids or theater kid adjacent.
Related to theater kid,
Yes.
not anywhere near a theater kid.
What is your favorite musical?
Oh.
Gross.
Okay,
That's
so
a horrible question.
yeah, to prove how much not a theater kid I am, my favorite musical is Singing in the Rain.
Hey.
Hey,
I
that's
do
a
really
good one.
like that.
Yeah.
That's a good one though.
But yeah, no, MGM, classic MGM film musicals. That is my jam.
I really liked Spring Awakening. I was able to be a part of a regional, not a regional. It was like a community theater production of it. I played Georg in that. That was a lot of fun to be able to do. I was in a production of American Idiot. I just like the ones where like I can just sing along. So like American Idiot was really cool. Next to Normal, I really need to see as well. I've only ever been able to hear the Broadway cast recordings for a lot of these shows, but like I just love rock musicals.
I can sing all of Les Mis right now.
Les Mis is a big one too.
That's my
way too many productions of it.
Yeah,
like,
that's my grandmother's favorite musical. So I grew up with like the like 20th anniversary concert, and so like that is imprinted in my brain in ways that I am still discovering.
But yeah, I grew up as a musical improv person,
Speaking of grandma musicals, I really want to be in a production of Chess or
oh God.
Or I want to play the American in that. And I also would love to be a part of a JC Superstar production as either Judas or Jesus.
I also like West Side Story, and I recently just saw Waitress, and I thought that was really
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I saw Kimberly Akimbo. That was a good show. New York last year.
If you
High
like
School Musical.
If you like musical animes, I check out A Sing a Bit of Harmony. If you've seen that one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I played Thunder in that.
Yeah, nobody talks about the translation for the songs for that was like really freaking good.
Let us sing
And
more.
Megan Shipman, I believe, sings the songs
So
for
good.
most of that. Yeah, amazing.
My favorite one I've been in is, well, I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called Crazy for You. It's a Gershwin, so it's kind of like an older one. It's really, really good. They did a kind of like some music from it in a newer musical with Matthew Broderick called Nice Work If You Can Get It. The song was originally from Crazy for You, and so I did that one. That was fun. I got to start a bar fight, and it was great. We did blanks, and it was all Cowboys. It was awesome. And then two musicals that I've always wanted to be a part of. One really obscure one. I've always wanted to do Tarzan the musical because I love Phil Collins.
Like Disney's Tarzan?
Yeah, it's a
They
musical.
did one in
And
New York.
apparently, like The Fly in that show is awesome. And if it tells you anything, like when I was 4, my 4-year-old birthday was like a Phil Collins birthday cake.
Oh my God!
Like it was a Tarzan. It was a Phil Collins birthday cake. And so I love Phil Collins. And then one of my other
Genesis,
dream
man.
role is, I mean, I've already got a Gray Streak for it, but I love Sweeney Todd, man. As one of my
another good
favorites.
one.
Okay,
Yeah.
I love Sweeney Todd.
funny story about Sweeney Todd. Okay, so I was.
And you're not a theater kid, right?
No, I'm not. No. I was raised by theater children.
Okay.
Hairspray.
Yeah, no, like my grandmother's a big theater kid. My mother has no artistic bone in her body, and like I'm an actor. My younger brother's an actor. My older brother was film. I have my oldest cousin was in theater. So like I was raised by a bunch of weird artists, or people like raised by people who were artists, or raised by people who were raised by artists. But no, I had to have been like 5, and we watched. We were all on vacation with my mom, my maternal grandmother, grandfather, and my mom and our family. And they had a VHS of the PBS recording of Sweeney Todd with Angela Lansbury.
Oh, the best.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And that scared the ever-loving shit out of me as a child.
And you never watched musicals again.
Yeah. Well, no, it was absolutely terrifying. Like I was a sensitive,
yeah.
I was a sensitive little boy, and so it was awful. And then my older brother, because he is just an asshole, starts to mess with me because he sees that I am distressed. And so because I didn't realize that it wasn't a movie, that it was a recorded stage play, or neither did he. He was like, "Oh yeah, did you hear they're making a Sweeney Todd 2?" And for some reason in my child brain I was like, "No, I'm gonna have to watch that too," and like just started crying.
Oh God. You know, people kind of bashed Johnny Depp for the movie. I loved him in the movie.
I loved the
man.
movie.
I thought he did great with Helena
I'll
Bonham
bash Tim
Carter.
Burton for that movie.
Dude, that whole cast was awesome too.
I kind of liked the movie.
No, I really liked the movie.
I just don't like Tim Burton.
I love Tim Burton. I love Tim Burton. That one was a lot of fun.
For recommendations of musical anime, there's an old one. Anybody ever heard of Naruma Daikon Brothers?
I've heard of it. I haven't
cool.
seen it. That
Not
seems up my
old.
alley.
So that was a show. It was one of the early musical animes, and like everybody sung. So it's basically about three. Are they all related? I forgot. They're cousins, right, or something like that. Yeah, and they're all trying to make a daikon on their farm so they can raise enough money so they can perform and stuff like that. And they always get into weird schemes and stuff like that. But that one I sing every once in a while because I was always impressed how they adapted all the little jingles and stuff like that. And we haven't done a show like that. I mean, we do have more musical anime now, but it's mostly about focusing on the band and stuff like that. That was like the most zany musical I've ever seen.
Well, like anime musicals are all okay. I'm gonna put my
You haven't seen Naruma Daikon.
my
Production hat on.
yeah, my production hat on. I'm gonna put my not theater hat on. So all anime musicals are non-diegetic, meaning that like diegetic musicals, which means that the songs are within the universe, the diegesis of the story. So everyone knows that they're singing. Whereas like a Disney musical, there's some sort of magical realism that happens and like just sort of reality stops for a second, everyone does a song and dance and then goes back to reality. That's a non-diegetic musical. And I, for the life of me, cannot understand why all anime musicals are diegetic because one of the biggest influences of anime was an all-female theater review that, as far as I understand, did like just musical theater, and so they were doing, you know, and most musicals are non-diegetic. So it was like, this is the history. Why does anime have to justify, with all the weird shit that happens in anime? Why do they always have to justify someone singing when you can just do it? Like I love every Studio Chizu movie, but the movie Belle really like frustrated me because it was a perfect scenario for that to just be magical realism and just have fun, do a very Disney-esque type thing. And like, no, she has to be a singer, she has to have some weird pop thing, and it has to be like, you know, justified in the scene. And it's like, why? Just let them sing.
I feel like Naruma does that though.
It might be. Oh, sorry.
I was just saying, I think Naruma does the opposite of that.
I haven't seen Naruma, but I feel like
I've been hunting for a non-diegetic musical anime for a long time.
I have to show you Naruma Daikon then.
Maybe at least when it comes to modern musical animes, they probably think that, oh, that's what insert songs are for or something, where it's like, well, insert a song to showcase their feelings as opposed to having it be
the closest that I've ever seen to what I've described is Sarazanmai. Because all of the like magical girl transformation sequences and fight scenes are all musical numbers.
That is true.
And so it's like it's still happening, it's still in the universe, but it is just so like magical girl stuff already has weird magical realism elements to it that like it is very theatrical, like Broadway-esque.
Dude, I'm definitely going to lend you my copy of Naruma Daikon. You have to watch Naruma. I really want to know your opinion about it after.
Great
Musicals!
question. That was a good.
Great question.
All right.
Any other questions?
I forgot about idol shows too.
Oh,
I'm
what's
not
up?
really into idol shows.
Hey guys. So I guess I'll ask this. Is there any TV show or movie that you really, really like? It's like comfort food for you. It's like if you're having a bad time, you just watch that and immediately everything gets better.
The Apartment.
I can't
Comfort
turn
media.
my brain off when I watch stuff, so the idea of comfort watching is foreign to me. There are things that I absolutely love and respect and get fed like when I'm watching them, but like very rarely do I find something. Like if I'm turning my brain off for something, it's because I don't particularly like it. It's just noise that I don't get mad at.
Intense.
But for me, it would have to be A Princess Bride. The Princess Bride.
a good one.
Like that to me, I can watch that. I can watch that every day for the rest of my life and be like, this is the greatest piece of cinema ever put to film.
I'd say anything Cartoon Network back in the day. My girl loves horror movies, so right before we go to bed, we'll turn on Powerpuff Girls, Dexter's Laboratory, Johnny Bravo, any of that stuff. But by myself, I find myself constantly returning to, as much as I love X-Men in the 90s, X-Men Evolution. I don't know. I'll go on that ride again. I'm like, one more time. Let me go one more time. I don't know.
Yeah, that one was a very interesting take on those characters.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of grew up with them, so it just kind of, I don't know. It was fun.
Did you answer? You go first. I mean, I'm more of a video game person than a TV and movie person. So, like, a lot of the time, if I have the free time to just kind of decompress and de-stress, I'll play, like, it sounds ironic when I say it, but usually, like, any of the FromSoft games, like Sekiro, Dark Souls, Elden
That's
Ring,
your stress reliever?
Liza P.
Yeah, I was about to say.
No, yeah.
That's your turn your brain off game?
They're very relaxing.
He's a
Okay,
legend.
I'll defend him on that.
They're
Do
relaxing.
you just like
It's-
achieve zen? And
Here's
just
here's
go,
the thing. Here's the thing. You guys, if you are a very competitive-minded person, like you're probably hardwired to hate those games because you're frustrated at how much you're losing.
Yeah.
If you're a completely non-competitive person who does not care if I die a billion times, it's you put on like YouTube and you have it on and you're just kind of chilling. Like I don't care that it's like the 30th time I fought this boss. It's just like a nice rhythm that makes my brain feel good.
The "You Died" jingle. I fall asleep to that every night.
No, it's
What game stresses you out then?
what game stresses
Yeah.
honestly multiplayer
Okay,
games
that's fair. Yeah.
because
People yelling at you.
it's co-op multiplayer
yeah,
games.
yeah. Okay. I feel you.
Because multiplayer games where I'm by myself and the only person that has to worry about me sucking is me, like I don't care. I get stressed if like my team's gonna get mad at me for not being as good as they are, and so those tend to stress me out. Whenever like if it's a casual multiplayer game where we can just screw around, it's like whatever. But like your phasmophobias where it feels like I'm feeling stressed. I don't know what to do. I don't know what my objective is, but I also need to be doing something so I'm not just sitting around not contributing anything to the team, and then everyone gets pissed off at me because we lose. And so, like, I'm very much a single-player guy.
Oh gosh, I feel so. My husband and I watch a lot of films, including stuff from the Criterion Collection, which are reward films for various different reasons. So I have always, besides anime, I do just like to sit back and watch anime. Sometimes I just want to watch a good film, and I always go back to The Apartment, starring Jack Lemmon.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a story about a salaryman who's trying to get to the top, and the way he's doing it is lending his apartment to his bosses so they can have sex with girlfriends or prostitutes or whatever. And he's just trying to figure himself out, and eventually he falls in love with somebody. And I don't want to spoil things, but it's a really heartwarming film that I feel like it still is good to watch to this day. God, Purple Rose of Cairo. I can name films after films, but I feel like everybody will be like, what the hell were those? Like,
I love that you call him a salary-man, even though he's like a middle management guy in 1940 something. Like like he's like aesthetically a salary-man, but he's not a salary-man.
That's funny.
So yeah, if you ever want to come to my table, I can give out film recommendations. And my husband is like an encyclopedia when it comes to films. But I also feel like those are important because we have to watch kind of like a bit of like how past acting was and how we're kind of modernizing that now, so we don't get stuck in the same route for like when it comes to speaking to people or how we approach people. But
Well,
yeah.
also like different eras, you can only tell certain stories at different times.
Sure, definitely.
You know, like like a lot of what's in the Criterion Collection. I mean, like Nosferatu, like the original Nosferatu.
Yeah.
Like like they were doing like cutting edge effects for that film in a very specific way, and it's like if that was happening now, like that it wouldn't have the same kind of impact. Or something like Citizen Kane. You know, those movies are very much born out of the problems that they were facing in that specific moment, and so it is a bit of history that you're watching.
Yeah. I also just like watching films that were based off like stage plays too, just to kind of compare how they got over the trickiness of stuff like that. Also, I'm a big fan of Wes Anderson films.
Oh, yeah.
They're very calming to look at, just with the symmetry, with how it is with his stage
I
direction.
saw
and
Asteroid
stuff
City
like that.
recently. That was fun.
Yeah. I was okay with that one. I feel like that was his weakest one so far.
yeah.
But apparently we found some shorts on Netflix, and I really like a lot of his
I've seen a
shorts.
couple
Yeah.
of those. Those are great.
So, do you-
Howard, what's your comfort media?
G Gundam.
Yes.
High School
Yes.
Musical.
High School Musical. My God.
No, G Gundam's a real answer.
I
That's
do
a
like
good
Gundam,
answer.
yeah.
I love Lord of the Rings.
None of our answers were good. That
Yeah.
was a good.
No. All the answers other than G Gundam for anything are wrong.
Thank you for your question. Any other questions? Feel free. And if you have questions, feel free to line up behind whoever is currently asking. But I saw a hand.
There was an awkward hand raised.
Sweet.
Because we'll just vamp for as long as people aren't asking.
We're already vamping.
I think we have like 20 minutes left.
Oh, your shirt is super cute.
Thank you. I was curious if each of you had a favorite kind of like voice, role, or type of character that you enjoyed playing or performing as.
Oh.
Want to start on that end? Going up?
We can start down there since we.
You have a favorite?
There are a couple of character types that I ended up just kind of not getting typecast into, but just got cast as a lot for whatever reason.
So typecast.
Yeah. And that was for a while until like the mold broke, and you know, I kind of branched out from there. But I got like a lot of soft boys, you know, maybe soft sad boys. That was a thing. But then for some reason after I did JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, because I was so different and it was like lower kind of, not villainous, but he wasn't like entirely a good person either. I got more villains in that kind of range. So like, I don't know. It's like the spectrum of just like, yes, the light soft boy, but also just like the lower kind of mean weird guy.
I usually get typecasted as a lot of kids, and the kids that I'm mainly known for, like Nataku and Momo, have a lot of anxiety and a lot put onto them. And I felt like I dealt with that in my life. So it was, and acting shouldn't always be like therapy, but sometimes it can come off that way where you're kind of just getting all the stress out because you can only relate to so much, obviously. It's like, oh, a dragon burned down my village. I can't relate to that, but I can understand loss, destruction, you know. So being able to kind of release some of that tension in me and relate to their journeys, and that, you know, there is hope at the end if you keep pushing through, you know, I kind of felt some comfort into that. So yeah.
I mean, I tend to get cast as a lot of the kinds of characters that I enjoy playing just on a technical level. Because I have such a tenory voice, I tend to like characters where I can use the full range of like what I can do. So characters like Akihiko Nire from Windbreaker recently, like I feel like for the past like year or two, I've been getting cast a lot more in my medium to lower range, and so being cast as Nire was a very fun return to like, wow, this is like the stuff that I feel like I really fly at, and I feel like the most confident in doing characters like that can go those crazy highs and then balance him out so that he's not one note and still have those fun little low moments as well. But I just like being able to play characters where I'm able to just kind of go wild and all over the place. And yeah.
Dude, I love playing the crazies, man. I love them, and I've recently found out I'm pretty decent at them, and I like the two-tone ones, so the ones that are just really normal, and then they switch, you know, and I love that kind of stuff. I've always wanted to play like a really eccentric villain, you know, I've always wanted to do that because I love those over the top. They're almost like flamboyant, but they're just very exotic too. But like when you watch guys so much,
because they're British coded,
you know,
but they don't have a British accent.
Maybe, yeah. But a lot of times too, those types of characters tend to have like the best backstories, and you really relate to them because like, you know, no one's like born crazy. You know, they become crazy through, you know, external, you know, things that happen to them. And so a lot of those types of characters end up having a really deep background, and I really like playing to that as well. And so, yeah, man, I love the crazies.
For me, I mean, it's Hwa-Chung again, just because physically he feels good to play, because he's at the very bottom of my register, so there's just a nice little rumbly in my chest, and then also I have to be completely relaxed to play him because he's just so laissez-faire about everything. So I'm just chill the whole time. I don't yell, I don't scream, I just get really close to the mic, and that's so nice. Because other characters I tend to get cast as like sexist assholes, and I'm just like, do I sound like I hate women? Because I'm getting cast as a lot of people who hate women, and that's not fun.
That's not fun.
I'd say kind of echo something I said earlier, but yeah, those kind of more that medium range type. I love getting a second go at Reo in the Blue Lock episode Nagi, the film, and just he had such a more realized and full-fleshed character arc. And going on that ride with him to be completely fun, golden retriever type, to super serious, he's locking in, to heartbreak and pain. So it was so cool to be able to even to show that off and to actually have a script that you get to go there with, because a lot of times, I don't know, once you graduate from, if you go to college for theater, you get out into the real world, you're not guaranteed to have a script that you're going to have a character arc. You might get a line on TV, you know, you might, in anime, you might get to come scream or maybe say a line or two, but it's never really a guarantee after you leave the educational theater system that you're going to get a big role. And so getting a chance to do that on the big screen, that was freaking thrilling. But I also hope to get more characters like Godoy, who's from Gundam Witch from Mercury, who's deeper voice, more of a soldier, and just like getting a chance to use that range was so much fun.
For sure.
Good question.
15 minutes.
Good question.
Also, if you want a capybara, I'm actually working at a booth, Tampopo House. In
His booth is right across from mine, so just find me.
I might stop by. Yeah, it's very cute.
I might stop by for something for my wife. She likes getting gifts that are cute.
I'm glad your wife likes getting gifts.
The shirt was cute. Yes, any other questions? I saw somebody timidly raise their hand earlier over in this direction, but if we can get repeat people, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, we're at that point, I think.
Just since musicals were brought up.
Yeah.
No. Just kidding.
Don't worry. So perhaps you already saw it on YouTube, but Japan does the occasional musical for some of their popular anime like Sailor Moon, Black Butler. So say in the future, if all these studios in Japan, China allowed y'all to have a musical version of an anime you're in, which anime would it be? And then which character would...
Is there a One Piece musical yet?
I would be surprised if there wasn't.
I'd be totally down for that.
Yeah.
There could be, but I'm sure that's like a long musical.
I'd be surprised if there isn't a musical for One Piece, or at least like a certain arcs. Like they could easily condense like a musical story for One Piece, like how they do the movies. Like I could see them. Doing
I
something
am
like
really interested and worried how Oda is planning out the live action because there's just so much to condense. Also, I want Chopper to be a puppet, but I know that's not going to happen. But so One Piece musical would be really awesome.
That would be.
I don't know if my answers are boring or if it's just that Heaven Official's Blessing is the perfect show and has everything. But but in it canonically, there's a whole segment where there's a theater troupe that is putting on a incredibly aggrandized version of the love story that you've seen up until that point. And for that to be just like a full musical would be amazing.
That would be great.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you had to choose a song too for a character you play, which would it be?
You go ahead.
My first answer is there have been multiple generations of Prince of Tennis musicals.
Yes. I was going to suggest those.
I would do one of those. And for a character song, it's not anime, but from Grand Blue Fantasy, Sandalphon, the character one of the characters I play has a pretty iconic song called Ein so Four, which is really cool. That'd be neat. So maybe side games will do them one day.
And are you referring to songs that already exist for these shows, or like just general pop songs, or like?
Feel like signifies the character. If you were to
Gotcha.
come out on stage and
I mean, Bing Sake, you can never go wrong with that. I feel like everybody always enjoys that. Or Ora Tachiwa Family, that's a fun one. I can't think of any other ones.
I feel like any jazz standard would work well for Hwa-Chang. Just some crooner song, just
like Howard said, that there's already exists. There's a stage play. I don't know if it's a full-on musical or not, but there is a staged version of Haikyuu already.
That doesn't surprise me.
Which is really, really. I've seen footage of like the curtain call where like the actress who plays Hinata is just jumping around doing crazy acrobatics and stuff like that. I don't know if he would sing to it, but like maybe they'll introduce him to like Jump by Van Halen or something, and he's just jumping around the stage doing stuff.
What about Food Wars musical?
Food Wars musical would be crazy.
That would be so weird.
Takumi sings an aria.
Oh my god! I'm trying to think of that would be like a '90s Broadway musical.
Oh yeah.
Like that would just be a 100% '90s oh god, what's the one that was just? I think it was like
the not
Business?
theater kid seems to have the most historic
Yeah,
knowledge.
isn't that
of Broadway.
interesting? Interesting.
I have not lied. My younger brother is the kind of nerd where he has educated me on these things, and I have educated him on comics. So we have infected each other. But I am not a theater kid. I will die on this hill. But yeah, no, it was like the Job or something like that, where it was a '90s musical where it was all about ladies of the night, and like the sound of that musical in particular. It sounds like that's what the Food Wars would be.
Oh yeah.
It's just this very like sort of '90s upbeat pop, like with jazz influences, like like just sort of like a contemporary Chicago or something.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my
yeah.
god, I would love that.
Dude, so Blue Lock has like 3 stage plays out right now.
Oh, does it?
And, yeah, and I feel like it would be something like if it were a musical, I feel like it would be more like the Green Day musical and all that.
Like a
It would be
jukebox.
more like of a rock because there's a lot more like electronic. And I feel like Bachida's in specific. I mean, I can't think of a song right now, but if you watch the movie when he's going for his super special go at the end, right before he kicks it in, it's like I'm a crazy bitch or something like that. It would be right up there. So something like that.
Oh my god, One Piece would be lame is. It's just as crazy.
Oh yeah, yeah, that is true.
But everything would be in a major key though. Like it would be so weirdly upbeat. Like Do You Hear the People Sing would be an actual anthem.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would. Yeah.
It wouldn't be some like
Let's make it right now.
Yeah, there we go.
Kamen?
I don't really look like a lot of the characters, but I'd say Dragon Ball Z, give me Piccolo. There we go. I'll sing as Piccolo.
Oh no, I would not play any of my characters in anime on
I thought
stage.
that was
Oh, actually,
We don't look like any of
Did you
them.
guys hear about? Do you guys know Matt Pat, the YouTuber? Yeah, he's working on a musical, Your Lie in April.
Oh wow.
He's
Yeah,
working on
I
a
heard about
London
that.
production right now, and I'm like, yes, please bring it to the stage.
I genuinely
Yeah, so-
don't know how to feel about that because the music.
I mean,
the
it's
music-
gonna be a little different.
Yeah, like because like the music in Your Lie in April is not like character motivated, and so like having people break out into song, I'm about it, but I hope for good things.
I have high hopes for it. I'm looking forward to it.
Good question.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good questions.
Any other questions?
I think we have fun.
Oh,
more.
there's
I see a hand
there's a
back there.
hand
Oh.
raised over there. Hello, person.
And like I said before, if you have a question that you want to ask, you can feel free to line up after the person that's here or something.
Yeah, of course. Hello, darling.
I see I don't know if it's intended to be, but I see the Luffy-esque outfit. Yes.
Do you guys have any favorite voice lines?
Favorite voice lines.
Oh.
I mean, I've written some that I can't repeat here. Like just straight up, I can't repeat here.
So for the Nagi movie, we had a few like I can't think of specific like words and lines and stuff like that, just because we record these so fast that we don't really memorize them or anything unless it's like a catchphrase. And as much as I love doing the catchphrases and quoting them, I wouldn't say that any of them are particularly my favorites or anything, but there were a lot of really good moments in recent memory in both the Nagi movie and the Haikyuu movie that we really got to have just these intense moments where like Nagi's facing off against Isagi and he just has this line that feels so weird, but it's just kind of like, I'm gonna devour your soccer. It sounds so silly, but it, like the moment just feels so intense, and like I was able to do like this part of my voice that I don't really get to do very often, so it was really fun. And then in the Haikyuu movie, there's just like a few moments where Hinata's in his head and they got him stuck in a corner, and he just has like this really cool monologue about wanting to break out of this corner that Kenma has like kind of forced him into, and he's like, well, so what if I don't try? Then like I need to reestablish like what I'm doing here, and I can't think of the specific words, but I just like those moments where you really get to like see into the character's head, and those intense moments with like monologues and stuff.
Yeah, Momo has a lot of good monologues when it comes to like rising up the troops and everything. But there's a great scene where Luffy is trying to ride him because he's like, "You flew before, why aren't you flying now?" And he's like, "I don't fly." And then they start beating each other up, and he's just disrespecting him. And then Momo just goes like, "Shut up! I'm gonna be the Shogun one day, and you'll be like a worm between my feet." So, but yeah, something like that. So.
Anybody else have any favorites?
Well, my favorite line, you're never going to hear it because unfortunately it's in the background, but it made season 1 and the movie of Blue Lock, and it made me really happy. So there's this scene where Team Z had just beat Team V, right? And they're all celebrating. They're like, "Oh, great job, guys," whatever. And so I made Bachida say, I was like, Yeah, we did it, guys. You filthy little egoists. so somewhere in Blue Lock,
gotta look for
there's
that.
Bachida.
Anytime Rayo's talking shit, honestly, it's my favorite. He's cocky.
Great.
He's feeling himself on the floor or on the field. I think my favorite one was can't afford to let you get within your shooting range. I know all about you, muscle boy. Or he's talking smack to Kunigami, but anytime he's just feeling himself, that's a blast.
Dude, my favorite Rayo line is like, you pulled off a roulette? A roulette? That's one of my favorite ones.
I liked in the movie when you're like, show him your move.
Show me. That was all Rig. Shout out to Rig. That was him.
nice.
His idea.
I played a character called Etiquette Preacher in The Vampire Dies in No Time, eventually. Yeah, and he's just a fun little insane person. But there was a moment where we were in the booth, and this was before I got hired as a writer at Crunchy, and Jade was directing, and there was a line, and it was a joke. And she was like, we can punch this up. And so we were sitting there for like 5 minutes. And the kitsch with that show is that the main vampire, obviously it's a comedy. The main vampire dies all the time and he just sort of turns into sand. And so there's a moment where I've done something and he's dead and he's turned to sand. And I've got to mess with him. And so I just went, can it, asphalt? And Jade was just like, I've never heard asphalt used that way before. Okay.
That's amazing. Any favorites for you guys?
I can barely remember anything. Maybe it's like recency bias, but there's a game that just came out called Trails Through Daybreak. I play a character named Aaron Way, and he has, I can't repeat them here, but he has some very fun, crude lines that gives the game a lot of heart. Well, maybe not a lot of heart, but punches up the game a bit, and it's really funny, and it's circulated on social media a bit. They're like, wait, I need to get this game. This game, like, JRPGs can say this kind of stuff. I'm like, yeah.
Thank you for your question.
I have a fun question. We all have done Wallow, right?
Yes.
Background noises.
Yeah,
and stuff
here
like
and
that.
there.
Yeah. Do you ever have like a fun group one or a fun group story or line that you?
I already spoiled mine.
So the very first thing that I recorded at Funimation was background for Escaflowne. And there was a moment where it was the scene where the main character was going to jump off the castle because he's a race of people that can sprout wings and do stuff. And so we were just, we were doing the random pedestrians down below being like, oh, no, my lord, blah, blah, blah. And so, like, we do a pass, because how Wallet works is for group stuff, you normally do multiple passes to make it sound like there's a bunch of people in there, because there's only 4 people in the booth. And so we're yelling and whatever. And the first pass, because I know it's going to get buried, I'm just being stupid. I'm like, yeah, jump, kid, yeah. And then on the second pass, I was like, okay, let's do a real take. And so then I did something that was in scene, and then we were listening to it back, and then and it's just blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden, everybody cuts out except me at the very end, and all you hear is, don't jump. And I was like, I should probably act now.
Please don't jump.
Just don't jump.
I'd say the frogs on Shangri-La Frontier were just in the background, ribbit, taking turns to see who can do the most ridiculous frog, or the phones on the One Piece. The what is it?
Oh yeah, yeah, Den
Oh no, that was so hard. I don't know why.
I did an early Walla session like 2018 or so for the Cardcaptor Sakura reboot, and me and this one guy in the group, I can't remember who all was in that group, but we had like this back and forth about like this like lucky highlighter that we forgot to bring for our test or something like that. And it was like, oh man, you can borrow mine, and I'm just like, no, it's not my lucky highlighter. I left it at home. It was crazy. And there was also one where I did some Walla for Morose Mononoke in season 2, and it was like this group of students just going on like a field trip or something, and for some reason they had like an example line said something about a camera. I'd be like, oh man, I really wish I brought my good camera or something, and I just went with this like through line of this character. Anytime they had like batches of these students, I was the one guy in the group that was just like throwing out random camera terminology to be like the camera file in the group, just being like, yeah, I really wish I brought my DSLR. I've got like a super cool zoom lens, and just throwing out random jargon that like somebody who knows like maybe 10 things about cameras would throw into sound smart.
See, it's so unfortunate too, because some of the best like lines in anime you're never gonna hear.
You're never gonna
Yeah.
hear because they lower that down.
So it is interesting. Okay, I will answer this quickly because we're out of time. But so as a writer, part of your job is to come up with prompts for Walla, because you don't want 4 people to just like start making up stuff. Because inevitably someone says burrito, and like you're in Victorian England, and that's just a weird thing to hear. And so when I was working on Black Butler, Caitlin had specifically asked us to. Normally we do 4 prompts, so like each actor has 1 prompt that they can riff off of, and she asked us to double it so that she had more stuff to work with accents and stuff like that. So Bonnie Klingenbeard and I were just like racking our brains trying not to repeat ourselves with these prompts, and so it just got to the point where I just started doing stupid shit. And so there's at one point where like Queen Victoria shows up, and everyone's responding, and I was just like, this is a good place for a Monty Python quote. And so everyone's just blah 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 blah, and then there was just, I thought we were an autonomous collective.
And I was just gonna say, I played a lot of kids, so we say a lot of stupid stuff all the time. There was one time, there was a trigger line where it's like, that man's tall like a giraffe, and then for like a full minute we were just talking about giraffes. It's like, my mommy says they got black tongues, and then they just started talking about random nonsense for like the whole minute.
Fun fact.
Yeah.
Well, great panel, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you so much
Thank you
for
for your
coming
questions.
out.
so much.
You guys are awesome.
If you want to see some of us will be at our dealers' tables signing autographs and taking pictures. Me and
Yes.
Drew in 1 hour, in 30 minutes, we'll be doing a Windbreaker panel in panel room
Windbreaker's great,
4.
guys.
Yeah.